When I looked into your future, it's the green that I seen.
Man, it feels like this song's been going on for 10 straight minutes, so of course it's sung by the cast member with the worst voice.
What? That's Keith David you're talking about. So just for saying that, like in the old video, you're getting 1,000 sins.
Nani is a terrible human being who should have Lilo taken away from her immediately, and no amount of animated bullshit redemption will change my mind on this.
Imagine losing both of your parents in a car accident, becoming the breadwinner for your younger sister, having a social worker trying to take her away, trying to convince him otherwise, and being called terrible. That's worth 400 sins.
My name is Otto. How may I...
Robot underwater. Yeah, it may be waterproof, but I don't believe.
Well, it's clearly working, isn't it?
A stupid question, but why does everything in this other world turn into a nightmarish version of itself the longer Coraline is here? The Beldam is shown to be able to make and appear like anything she wants, so why would they change it all?
Because Coraline now knows the true nature of the other world. Isn't it obvious?
The pig tracks get on the ceiling.
Spider Pig, Spider Pig.
How did she not hear this or see this before now?
Sending this funny scene.
Well, better get going.
But your bridge is gone, and you are 20,000 feet up in the peaks of this mountain range. Where do you better get going to exactly?
If you just continued playing the movie, Pancho would answer your question. He says,
Well, better get going. With that bridge out, it's a 4-day walk to the palace.
Cute, but this is mathematically impossible.
Nope, people have made it in real life and said it's super easy to do.
Okay, look, I need to know how fast Sonic is. Montana's a big state, but even if they're on the far west side of it, it would be at least 400 miles each way to reach the Pacific Ocean. And radar previously clocked him at 296 miles per hour. But he did this at least 800-mile journey in seconds. Just let us know what his powers are, movie. We can handle math, I promise.
Well, Sonic's top speed is approximately 2,889 miles per hour, and if he got to the Pacific Ocean and back in 5 seconds, he'd have to run at 1,444.5 miles per hour to get there in 2.5 seconds as well as back. In other words, can you really handle math?
Shrek, I think you grabbed a 40 of after potion.
Have I mentioned this movie made nearly $1 billion?
Yes.
Iron Giant's still biting cars and silos on farms when he has a junkyard to feast on, or all these pre-junkyard attacks. Movie doesn't care, so why should I?
You have answered your own question. They are pre-junkyard attacks. I mean, I figured that out every time I see this movie. How do you not get that?
Jesus Christ, is it possible to have too many references to Spider-Man in a Spider-Man movie? This movie is pointing a pretty big arrow to yes.
This is a Spider-Man movie, my dude, so we can have all the Spider-Man references at once. Also, would you want a Spider-Pig reference like this one?
Spider Pig, does whatever a Spider Pig does. Can he swing from a web? No, he can't. He's a pig. Look out, he is a Spider Pig.
He clearly has no understanding of the real estate market in San Francisco, or she'd be freaking out over how much money her parents are going to earn when they flip this thing.
Dude, she's only 11 years old, so she's not gonna know that.
That's right. Olaf.
Come on, I mean, you definitely don't remember anything about Olaf because the magic troll's at the beginning.
She remembers Olaf because he wasn't part of the magic, he was part of the fun. Here's 2 screenshots that prove Olaf was still in on his memories after they were changed. And also, here's 3 comments from your video that address this.
Kevin had no idea when Harry and Marv would be back, right? So he's been puppeteering this Christmas party all night in anticipation of their arrival? I admire his stamina, but I don't know if he can keep this charade up all night long, given he'll have no idea if they drove by or not.
Well, when Harry and Marv leave, Kevin looks out the window and sees them, so he knows when they drove by.
Run away and never return.
Question, why doesn't he just kill and or eat Simba right now? There are no witnesses. And if he's telling him to run away, there's obviously a benefit for Scar to having Simba out of the picture.
I'll admit that you're not wrong here, but the reason why Scar doesn't kill Simba is because he wants it to seem like he was never involved with Mufasa's death.
The invisible car.
That's right, the entire climax turns on a character seeing the invisible car from a distance. No debris revealing it or anything like that, just an invisible object that is supposedly spottable from 100 feet away.
If you look closely, you'll see pebbles on top of the invisible car.
The sash ringing, the trash singing, mash flinging.
This time's on for some rhyme.
Singing this scene, that's worth 45 sins.
For Pour the wine and cut the cheese.
Gregarious gargoyle gabs glibly about gastrointestinal gas while gasping for Grape's great guardian.
Critic conceptually complains corresponding clowning commonly.
In a world where superpowers are real, physical injuries as a result of superpowers are not real.
Oh really? Then how do you explain this?
And now I'm wondering which room was Mike's. He died in the last room when Jason tried to speed up his heart rate. His story was that he survived a cave-in at a mine. None of the rooms had anything to do with that. And Danny totally missed the poisonous gas room made for him because he's dead.
Mike's room was one where the walls closed in on Ben, mimicking how Mike almost died during the mine cave-in. Also, you were correct on which room was Danny's, but I'm going to show you this on screen for more clarifications on which room was whose.
In Lego World, clouds can get so fire damaged they crash into the sea, which sort of makes them not clouds, but whatever. Science doesn't exist in this movie. It's not like I need Dr. Tyson's help here. I got this one, Doc.
Look at that, guys. Jerry just admitted awareness that this is a fictional film. But because he never takes that into account with future videos, he won't be getting a sin removal from me.
In a way, I'm almost glad that flood interrupted us because I don't like the toast I was giving.
All of these people, not to mention his wife and f***ing son, could have died, and this asshole is happy because it gives him a chance to redo his toast. And he's the hero of this f***ing story?
True, but that toast was about Mr. Fox's wrong assumption about supposedly beating Bogus Bunsen Bean. And this toast is about him believing that the animals that are with him can help him rescue Christofferson.
You are not the only boof who makes mistakes. My mistake is not being your friend.
Oh, f***ing please. This 2 minutes and 13 seconds will translate to 15 minutes and 7 seconds of movie time, because magic?
Okay, how did you misunderstand this? This is supposed to be 2 hours, not 2 minutes. The small numbers are supposed to represent seconds.
Bang the drum.
Grandma did say bang the drum, but despite the 2 sticks on top, this looks nothing like a drum. Grandma should have been more specific. It said bang the upside-down, all-wood, horsey saddle-looking thing.
Actually, it is a drum. It's a slit drum found in the Pacific Islands. You really need to do your research.
So treasure your skip.
Hey, that's my line.
But this movie came out 25 years before your channel did, so the movie had the line first.
Also, it's been 3 days, and this horse has been on a never-ending sniff hunt for Ryder the whole time.
No, it hasn't been 3 days. This is implied to be only a few hours since Mother Gothel left the tower, and she's implied to be on her way to get Rapunzel's seashell paint. Come on, man, you really gotta start paying attention.
Sure, Motorola Razorfist can just jam a hastily chopped off dragon scale sword into his arm port and everything works just fine, but I spent 30 minutes trying to decide which way is up on a USB cable.
Wow, nobody cares.
Crack that pain bone open and suck out the marrow.
Don't make a college girlfriend joke. Don't make a college girlfriend joke. Don't make a college girlfriend joke.
Saying something random, saying something random, saying something random.
Will you stop making Boo laugh?
That's weird, because the last time Boo made the lights go out, it was because she was crying, not laughing. She's been laughing the whole damn time she's been in this building and nothing happened.
Actually, when Boo was crying, it didn't make the lights go out. When Mike landed in the trash can, got books stuffed in his mouth, and had a speaker fall on him, Boo laughed so hard to the point that all the lights went out.
The island can heal the wound in seconds. Why does it still leave a scar? The island is half-assing its job.
Because when you get a deep cut, it'll leave a scar when it heals. And I know because I have a scar on my right hand.
Excuse me? You're biting my butt!
That's exactly what my college girlfriend said to me shortly before dumping me.
Okay, I've got 3 things to say here. The first is obviously, Jeremy says something random cliche. The second is that this is another recipient for my award. And finally, did anyone need or want to hear that?
Tell me. Nobody. Tell me again. Nobody.
Is mayonnaise an instrument?
No, Patrick, mayonnaise is not an instrument.
Have to disagree there, Squiddy. For some, mayonnaise is an instrument that makes your intestines play all kinds of awful music.
Sinning is mayonnaise an instrument. That's worth 60 sins.
By the way, this car getting a ride from a truck doesn't endear me much to Lightning McQueen, but I'm already having trouble figuring out why I should root for this guy since he's been nothing but an asshole since the movie started.
Well, let's look at these 2 characters from 2 other videos I've made because you referred to both of them as dicks. And yes, they did act like dicks, but that's because that's how they were characterized. And did they change at the end of their movies? Yes. And the same thing will happen to McQueen.
Yeah, but the king and queen from the last movie never dressed like this. Movie will go to all the length for one stupid f***ing sight gag.
Yeah, but that's because they aren't ogres. Shrek and Fiona are. So they're dressed like this to appear more presentable since they're filling in for Harold and Lillian as the king and queen.
God damn it. There's no way they could get up this high this fast, and if they did, they'd already be dead anyway. This movie is sneaky terrible on the surface.
So Jimmy goes on a ridiculous 40-second rant here, claiming that this movie is terrible in comparison to a rash that bleeds when scratched. And overall, it's clear that he doesn't understand that others don't have the same opinions as him and that he needs to respect their opinions. So I'll spare you guys the 40 seconds and give him 15 cents. And also, my opinion on this movie is the opposite of his, in case you're wondering.
Also, instead of trimming some of the fat down from earlier in this movie, Tarantino decided it would be better for him to just tell us what happened instead of writing more dialogue.
Wait, what? In order to have narration in a movie, you have to write dialogue.
This claw works unlike any other in the history of the prize machine universe. I'm sorry, Sid doesn't win this one. There's no way.
I would have to disagree because even though they are hard, I have won at crane games many times before. For example, I once won 7 stuffed animals from a crane game and got 3 of them on one grab. Not joking.
Is this still going? I honestly just counted 20 movies with a scene like this in my head during this scene. I figured I missed something and would have to ask the 7-year-old kicking my seat for a plot update, but nope.
Yes, it is still going. And if you're doing something like that, you will definitely miss something, so the better option is to pay attention.
I am nervous about this movie. We're 2 minutes in, and there have been about 73 quick cuts and zooms, and May is just a ball of energy that I am not prepared for.
Well, you're going to have to get prepared for it because there's a lot more energy coming up in this movie, especially from Abby.
Krusty Krab continues cartoon crime of constantly commencing with the contradictory, controversial, and counterfeit comedic K.
Person points out pointless protestation pertaining to purposeless plugins pointing to pictures.
What the hell? Is she doing a Tom Cruise impression? Or is this shit actually happening right now?
Yeah, that's actually happening right now, my dude.
What did you do?
Why are they all mad at Mirabelle? Julieta is the one that caused all the rain. She has just as much control over the weather as Mirabelle has over the cracks in the house.
Julieta's gift is making healing food, so you mean Peppa is the one that caused all the rain. So I guess listening to the Family Madrigal 5 times wasn't enough for you, huh?
Man, I bet if you have kids you've recently dropped off for their first year of college, this part here probably gives you all the feels and makes you cry. Suckers.
I really don't see how this is something wrong with this movie. When I started college last year, I was looking forward to it, but I also felt sad when saying goodbye to my parents and sister. So I guess you missed Katie's character arc, huh?
Fucking hell. 80% of the characters only exist to pad the runtime.
Which is ironic coming from the guy who says non-sins in his videos that only exist for the purpose of padding the runtime and sin count.
Chocolate! Chocolate! Chocolate!
Chocolate.
No, no, no. Sinning this for literally any reason. That's worth these many sins.
I always thought that I rescued you from the Dragon's Keep. It was you.
Fucking end. I'd rather have unnecessary surgery while fully awake than watch any more of this f***ery. Shrek sucks.
First of all, sinning this, one of the most heartfelt scenes in this franchise. Secondly, I do respect your opinion, but this is worth these many sins.
Oh, never mind. Guess you found a hot date.
That was clearly a whimper and not a sound that would make anyone think a dog was okay. And he might be a bigger dick to dogs than Michael, and he kills them and eats them for f***'s sake.
Are you seriously suggesting that killing a dog isn't as bad as not caring about it? The former is clearly worse, my dude.
You choose your fuel for the final race. Do you have any idea what it's going to be?
All in all.
What?
Well, that's just f***ing stupid.
Look, we know what's going on here, but they don't. All they know is that cars are exploding for a reason that could only be all in all.
While I do agree that that's not a smart move on McQueen's part, he does this for a reason. Fillmore says that the fuel is safe, and since McQueen didn't stand by Mater in Japan, he doesn't want to make the same mistake with Fillmore.
As this gorilla sings Coldplay on a shit-ass piano held together by ropes, I would like to point out that this movie sucks!
Well, I think most people would argue that this movie is better than the first one and is a very fun movie to watch, which I definitely agree with. And it's completely fine if you don't like this movie, but you should at least explain why, which you haven't done at all throughout this video. And that doesn't just apply here, but also to other movies like Angry Birds 2, Princess and the Frog, Megamind, Shrek 2, Home and Robots. So just like the previous sin, I'll be giving this sin not just my award, but also these many sins.
Writers think a heist movie without laser trip sensors is more absurd than a piranha with legs.
But Mr. Shark also has legs, which sharks don't have in real life, so how is it more absurd that only Mr. Piranha has legs to you?
And this Electro Who Cardio Schlux has the exact opposite issue. Why do 4 Who's need to blow into it when it only has 1 bell? Also, how are any of them even supposed to see the one who is conducting? I mean, the one who is conducting. I mean, the one whom is conducting. Whatever. One of them is facing completely backwards, is all I'm saying.
But how did you miss the other who sitting backwards?
No means yes!
I mean, we like to think that Patrick and SpongeBob are great, but Patrick is a total asshole here, and SpongeBob is going along with something he knows to be wrong.
But SpongeBob doesn't immediately go along with Patrick here. Right after this, Patrick opens the door to reveal the snow and Sandy's freedom, which is what draws SpongeBob in.
As Alan makes his final roll, now is as good a time as any to recognize exactly how little this movie has cared about game continuity. In fact, I actually wrote a 917...
Next.
This jumping is so fake, they might as well have put Mario sounds with it. In fact, let's rewind this and do just that.
Okay, that always makes me laugh, so here's a sin-off.
We're not gonna make it!
And yet they somehow do, despite that perspective and all logic and video game logic. Like, is this the way the game wants to be played?
I don't think so, because I think the intended strategy was for the dune buggies to drive straight to the ramp and drive/fly across. Since Eddie turned after stopping at the edge of the gorge, then making it across depended on the ostriches ripping off the roof of the buggy.
Jesus, Mulan is f***ing strong. She just one-armed Li Shang out of the snow and onto her horse without her pants or popping a toot. Impossible.
There are 2 Ks, 2 Es, and 2 Rs in this logo, but they don't get any special Shrek treatment. This logo is racist against like 80% of the qualified alphabet.
But there is no second E. This one here is the only one.
Lancelot! Someone has been in my room again!
Good God, this girl is always acting, isn't she?
I mean, yeah, this is the movie showing us who Sarah is at first and getting to her character arc and realizing how important Toby is to her. So this is another case of use in characterization.
Someone remind me why we care about this heist again? Do we even know enough to root for or against it?
You know you don't have to root for the protagonist or their goals, right? I mean, let's look at this animated protagonist scorecard, shall we? As you can see, the person who made this didn't root for 14 protagonists. And also, Electric Dragon 505 questioned why you should root for Surly in his review of this film. So overall, you don't always need to root for the hero.
How is Poe's father a duck? I mean, I'm all for adoption or animal-based movies, but in early China, a duck adopting a panda? I just don't see it.
First of all, Mr. Ping is a goose, not a duck. Second of all, Kung Fu Panda 2 tells us that Mr. Ping found Po as a cub, and because no one claimed him, he chose to raise him as his own son. Considering that you've seen this movie 5 years after Kung Fu Panda 2 came out, I would think that you'd have already seen that movie.
Randall! Wifey's home!
The decision to make Randall and Rachel's wedding an undercover government operation has added entirely too much runtime to a movie that should be 98 minutes tops.
Sure, this sequence didn't need to be in the movie, but I still thought that it was a fun/funny addition to it. And sorry, Birdman, but I liked both this and the dance sequence.
So, you've just learned your father is a baby-killing hate machine. I know times seem tough now, but how the Pepsi?
If he was a regular carpenter, you would not be able to fix the damage that I do as quickly.
Wreck-It Ralph would be amazing at CinemaSins.
Well, considering he was applying real-world logic to something fictional, yeah, I'd say he'd do quite well at CinemaSins.
You okay, Patrick?
Finland!
You know who doesn't think non-sequiturs are funny? I once saw a duck with a third bill. That's who.
Sinning Finland. That's worth these many sins.
Starfish don't have tongues.
So you're okay with the starfish that can talk, but him having a tongue is crossing the line for you?
This magic carpet is turning this cloud into the poop emoji, and now you will never be able to unsee it. You are welcome.
Thanks?
So far, we have objects coming alive from Toy Story, the daughter won't play her role from Brave, and now lightning's jump over the car finish from Cars. Only 8 minutes in, and I think I've already won my game of Pixar bingo.
Personally, I think you should have given a different animated movie example for that daughter won't play her role thing you said, like The Little Mermaid. You know, because this movie came out a whole year before Brave did.
Between the Toy Story films and the Finding films, it's pretty obvious the bulk of Pixar writers and animators think children are demons.
But Andy and Bonnie are exceptions to that, and there are children in other Pixar films that aren't portrayed as demons, and I'll give 4 examples here. There's May, Arlo, Russell, and Dash.
Dumping your dead grandma in the river.
Except that's how deceased loved ones are honored during the Oban festival.
How can I put this gently? Get out!
Ah yes, you gotta love the way the adults handle issues in these movies. Blame the kids. Don't blame Bubble, or the school's faulty bots on campus policy. Blame the odd kid.
Well, considering that Barney owns Ron and that the kids can bring their Bebots to school, it's reasonable for her to think that Barney caused this, and that's further supported by the earlier scene in the film where Barney was called into her office. When he entered, she'd asked him, "You brought in a baby? Artificially sweetened beverages?" assuming that he brought all those people to school.
This joke is so far out of left field, I almost love it. But you know me, I'll find sins even if I have to make them up.
Look at that, guys. Jeremy just admitted he makes things up to have sins. But since he didn't stop doing that after this video, I won't be taking off a sin here.
Destroying my greatest invention, I made something even better. Friends.
Are friends better than inventions? Look, I love you, Josh, but I'm trading you for penicillin every single day of the week, buddy.
I would say so, since friends are an important thing that someone should have in their life.
Right, no one heard or saw him exit the box and walk over here and do this. Totally. Also, Stinky Pete tightens the screws on this vent, the only method Andy had for escape, but didn't do this any time earlier when he knew everyone was asleep.
I think you meant to say the only method Woody had for escape. So between this and the Encanto video, you really need to proofread your scripts, Jeremy.
I used to watch you on TV, flying through the air.
Was he on pole vaulting with the car stars? Why would he be flying through the air during a car race?
I see you forgot about this scene from the first movie.
Dogs don't talk.
Again, it's cartoon logic, Jeremy. How many times do you need that told to you?
They both survived this without any long-term injury, which is a miracle.
Don't think that sin applies to Jackie Chan, my dude.
That is some Bugs Bunny-looking shit right there.
Well, yeah, since this movie is basically a live-action cartoon.
These ants have discovered the illuminating power of fluorescent mushrooms that definitely exist.
Well, even if this wasn't a fantasy movie about talking bugs, those kinds of mushrooms do in fact exist in real life.
Holy shit, those pies are still steaming right out of the oven. How is Horner not melted his plum thumb plum off?
Probably because that wouldn't actually happen.
How did Buddy find the keys when he didn't even need to know to look for them in the first place? And those keys ended up floating to the surface, nowhere near where the truck crashed into. Oh, f it.
His name is Snowball, not Buddy. This is Buddy.
Yes, I am Ash.
Ash Ketchum is a boy from Pallet Town.
Double narration.
It's actually triple narration. Ash, the narrator, and the narrator for the TV.
Also, narrating your diary as you write it, as if you know there's an audience to keep entertained.
He said that was a journal, not a diary. And yes, Greg, I kind of was quoting you there.
Also, this is the second major music competition in this movie, and while it's not the movie's fault, the Pitch Perfect series has really worn me out on that kind of thing as a plot device.
Admits it's not the movie's fault, sends the movie forward anyway.
You ruined my wedding!
So Bowser has now forgotten about the Power Star he just stopped Mario from getting, and that will definitely be important later when they are fighting, and maybe Mario or Luigi stumbles on it and gets invincible and wins the day. That will be fulfilling for stupid people and children. Stupid children.
Well, Bowser forgot about the star because he's angry at Mario for supposedly ruining his wedding. Also, it's fine if you don't like this movie, but that doesn't give you a right to call people who like both this movie and the Mario games stupid.
Well, nothing justifies striking another student.
Except for the fact that he was defending another student, this gets 1,000 sins.
Okay, I'll respond to this sin by reading this comment from Doe82. Honestly, nothing does justify striking another student. He may have been defending someone he cared about, but he sure as hell did not go about it in the proper way. I think Mr. Tushman was completely valid in this scene, and the punishment given to Jack Will was very fair. Violence should not just be tolerated because someone had the right intentions. No hate to your video, but I think those sins were unfairly given, to be honest.
This door opened the opposite direction earlier, so does anything that lives near a pineapple into the sea make sense? I may just have answered my own question.
Admits nothing makes sense in SpongeBob, still questions it anyway.
A stinky mud puddle to you and me.
Nara Sean.
And get used to it, because the French narrator is a recurring character in this series.
That's what you get for not having hands.
Ouch.
Incomplete movies!
Well, this was done for a reason, Jeremy. When this movie was in development, Phil Lord and Chris Miller split the film into 2 parts after realizing the story was too much for a single film. And if anyone's wondering, yes, I told the Birdman the same thing.
Boy, why would she call me that?
Not understanding a simple word from the language that you inexplicably speak fluently.
And that's because Ace thinks he's a box troll because he's been raised by them and doesn't yet know that he's actually a human boy.
I'm normal.
Fortunately, this transformation comes equipped with some sort of marsupial honor pocket, so that all Ruby's clothes can be stored perfectly dry, and then reapplied when she returns to normal size.
But that's happened in other movies as well, and since this movie has similarities to Turning Red, I'll use May as an example of that.
Devin's right here. And free!
On the one hand, I'm glad that this movie isn't portraying horny 8th grade boys panting over girls, but on the other, I think just avoiding this behavior in a movie altogether is wise.
Well, this is a coming-of-age story, and also part of May's character is that she likes boys. That's a good point, but if you played the rest of the scene, you would have found an additional thing to point out.
Does it matter what gender is on screen right now when the message to the impressionable is that talking about a person's appeal based on convenience and cost is pretty fucking creepy?
Yeah, he left that swear uncensored, which happens again in the video, which you also missed.
Storing your merchandise where you shit.
Yup, another uncensored swear, so I'll be adding 2 sins to both of the sin counters here. But before I do, I'd like to thank Gabriel Ortiz for pointing this out to me.
On this jump, you can see that May leaves her ceremonial robe behind when she transforms. And that's a nice thematic touch and all, but I now have questions about how far off clothing must be before it leaves the magical modesty zone of transforming with May. Like, is it points of contact? How does this impact her glasses? If the glasses are jostling off her face a bit during transformation, do they not transform with her? And does that mean Panda May can't see?
Firstly, May has been shown to be able to see as a red panda the whole movie, so that would mean her glasses do transform with her. And secondly, as shown by that part, she moved away from the robe when she transformed, which is why it was left behind by her.
Ending your film by admitting it was just fine.
Jeremy, that's not the word fine. It's fine, which means end in Italian.
100 years of Disney bullshit in the credits.
Well, showing all these characters in the credits are a good way to commemorate 100 years of Disney. But more importantly, the real sin for the credits is that they forgot to include a character from both Meet the Robinsons and The Rescuers.
Just get my worthless scullery maid to get another place setting ready for the lovely lady Glittersparkles.
Gristle only introduced Bridget as his +1, so the only way Chef could know her name is if the screenwriters were committed to seeing Christine Baranski chew the hell out of this line.
Except that's not true, because when he introduced her to Chef in this same scene, he said, "Meet the lovely lady Glittersparkles."
Closing credits contain no Can't Stop the Feeling.
Well, you probably still would have sinned it anyway, Jared, since you did sin it when they played it in the first film.
Keep running, y'all! Ain't she a beaut?
No, she looks like AI tried to make a copy of the cat bus from My Neighbor Totoro.
Why are you pronouncing his name like that? It's pronounced Totoro.
Conveniently timed musical framing wave is convenient.
No. Sending this iconic scene for literally any reason.
And then suddenly, without any warning, Pixar sends you into a montage that is both full of sadness and joy and more sadness, without a word of dialogue spoken. It's like one of those great Pixar shorts that precede all of the full-length features. And I think I just cried a little. It's downright incredible, and we're removing 5 sins for its brilliance.
Alright, that's very much appreciated, and I'll do the same thing.
Baby instantly kills the only plant Earth has with whatever the hell is in that cup.
I think that was water poured on the plant, since we later see tons of plants growing on Earth.
Why would Linguini be filed with your will?
This used to be my office.
Classic not answering the question.
Remember though, this isn't the real ghost of Gusteau and it's Remy's imagination, so how would he be able to answer Remy's question here?
What the f***? Does the lid of that treasure chest say Deus Ex Machina? If you're going to start literally spelling out your sins in text on the movie props, you're going to make my job so much easier.
Yes, it does say that, but considering that you tend to use that phrase in ways that make it not work, I disagree with what you said there, Jer.
If this works, then the time I accidentally threw a basketball at Tamara's head during gym class in 6th grade, and she got so pissed that snot started...
Chit chat! In this chitty chat. You just don't know when to stop, do you?
Leonard says what everyone above the age of 7 just said to this movie.
Well, I first saw this film when I was 13, and I didn't say that, so...
Funny Bonnie somehow knew to get into this closet and that Hank would eventually show up and trap himself in there with her.
First of all, Bonnie is a male, not a female. Though while I still have to senior for this, I do appreciate you acknowledging this mistake in your pinned comment. Secondly, while Bonnie didn't expect Hank to show up, he often goes to the supply closet in the games, hence him being here.
From failing, you learn. From success, not so much.
No, you learn when you pay attention to the circumstances of your situation and choose to glean wisdom and understanding despite the outcome.
True, but Aunt Billy is still right, because mistakes help us learn how to do better later on, and they happen to everyone. In addition, I'm not always writing these videos, and the feedback I get is definitely helpful for me and has taught me a good lesson. So I thank you guys for that.
It's not camping if you're 10 feet from your house.
No, it doesn't matter where you are as long as you're outdoors.
But it does. Camping involves staying outdoors, away from your humble abode, so really all SpongeBob and Patrick are doing is backyarding. But camping sucks in general, so let's just send that.
Maybe to you, but I personally think camping is really fun and a good way to explore nature. And my most recent camping trip was really fun, by the way. What I'm saying is just because you don't like something doesn't mean that everyone else dislikes it, like I've said before.
There are no seatbelts on the Polar Express.
And that might be because trains don't have seatbelts, like Blagus and High Road Media said.
That makes no sense.
Why is Mantis suddenly so much bigger? Is this some sort of perspective thing that wasn't animated well? Or did Mantis accidentally drink some Drink Me liquid from Alice in Wonderland?
Firstly, the Drink Me liquid made Alice shrink, and the Eat Me cookie was what made her grow. Secondly, you put a period instead of a question mark after Wonderland here.
Randy has an unfair advantage in the hide-and-sneak challenge because he can just turn himself invisible. There really is no need for him to even hide in the lamp.
But as you can see in this shot, he has his Roar outfit on, so he'd still need to hide and not just turn invisible since the outfit would be shown.
Boy, considering how clueless she was, Ty certainly had that damsel in distress act down.
Act? Ty was being teeter-tottered on a balcony over a death drop by two strange guys. Jesus, Cher has been tolerable to a certain degree up until now, but this hard shift into being jealous of her friend because she has attention is either the reveal that Cher is actually the villain or a lazy attempt to introduce the third act conflict cliche.
Since you said third act conflict cliche there, I'll respond to it by playing Captain Bear's response to that in our Turning Red collab.
Wait, stop right there. Third act conflict cliche? What on earth are you talking about? Is there not a single third act that doesn't have conflict? Isn't that the whole point of a third act in every story? To resolve the conflict? What is this cliche? Please, explain this to me. I feel like I'm taking crazy pills.
This is an important mission I will cover for you.
Yeah, but a central character will still be missing from the game, right? Wasn't this the main problem with the last movie?
Agreed. While I like this movie, it ignoring the rules from the first movie was definitely one of its biggest problems.
Damn it, Pixar!
Another appreciated sin removal.
Wait, before we close out, I want to say that it was actually fun coming into one of your videos.
Yeah, I had fun doing that. And are there any other ideas you have for doing this again?
Yeah, there is one we both want to do.
Sounds great, and let's do that.
Strangers from the outside.
I didn't realize until rewatching this how much lip service this movie pays to the first one.
Says the guy who repeatedly sends movies for logos and narration.
Yeah, this is a pretty massive pot call for the guy with a lot of quote-unquote inside jokes that are literally just the exact same word or phrase being repeated over and over.
It's not a Pixar movie unless there's a giant fact.
You mistakenly added a sin there instead of removing one.
Oh, and by the way, I need to tell you something. Do you know what happened to your father?
You killed him!
No, I am your father's brother's, nephew's, cousin's former roommate.
Oh, what does that make us?
Absolutely nothing.
You wonder why I have trust issues.
Wait, you put your faith in Tom, Maddie, and Tails pretty quick, and then you built trust with Knuckles after he stopped trying to kill you. It all seemed relatively healthy.
With Tom and Maddie, they've done nothing but help him. With Knuckles, Sonic was able to trust him after he realized that Robotnik tricked him. And with Tails, while he trusts him now after getting help from him, he didn't trust him immediately, as evidenced by this part from the second film.
I've got an idea. Do you trust me?
Of course not. I literally just met you.
I just heard the lyric, "Come on, Moana, can I get a chee-hoo?" And I don't need to wait until the credits to know that Lin-Manuel is no longer in the building.
Okay, I agree that the songs in this movie aren't as good as the ones from the first movie, but this to me was the best song in this movie and was a good way of showing Maui's character growth and how much he cares about Moana, so I feel like it should have at least gotten a sin off for that.
And Sandy's hedge clippers?
Why is no one questioning how Patrick knows that the hedge clippers are Sandy's? These are just generic-looking hedge clippers, so the fact that he knows for a fact they belong to Sandy is a little creepy.
He knows they're Sandy's because the handles are acorn model, which connects with Sandy being a squirrel.
I sure like sequels.
No one, I repeat, no one likes sequels, Sponge Liar Fire Pants.
I don't know. I mean, there are sequels out there that I've enjoyed, some of which are better than the first movies, such as these 4.
Your wings! They're beautiful!
And possibly an abomination.
Jeremy yells at the screen, cliche.
Frogs audition with Jump because nuance is for suckers.
But I feel like this contradicts this sin you made earlier.
Damn it, this movie is about singing animals, but immediately misses the chance to have an actual Beatles singing a Beatles song.
So, do you want animals to sing a song that fits their species or not? Can't be both, Jer.
It's okay, SpongeBob. I already signed your name in.
I mean, poor SpongeBob. What will he ever do to get out of this? It's not like he could just go home and not show up for the competition, except he absolutely can and he absolutely should. But animated sitcom has to animated sitcom, I guess.
Agreed, but the mistake with the yellow captions happened again here. Also, here's a missed sin. SpongeBob is wearing his regular pants in this scene instead of the Speedo he was wearing.
I need it!
The thing I tell myself when
No. Sitting this iconic scene for literally any reason.
Did you really mean all those things you said about me?
Skip.
Writing a letter to a stupid pumpkin? You make me the laughing stock of the neighborhood.
Pretty sure those 2-cent counseling booths you set up don't help matters, Lucille.
Actually, Lucy does psychiatric help for 5 cents, not 2.
I know this is just a cartoon, but this is giving me a serious case of vertigo, and not the good Jimmy Stewart plays dress up with Kim Novak kind either. This show is next level insane.
You played the ding sound there, but the sin count didn't change.
10 left.
Holding both your hands up to indicate 10 doesn't work when you only have 8 fingers.
You're right about that, but the movie itself knows that, because when Nick held up all 8 of his fingers, she noticed that they didn't add up to 10, but she shrugged it off.
We will come up with something fresh, something amazing, something brand new.
Said no DreamWorks animated sequel ever.
Now, what were you saying, Jeremy?
Don't you two have any brains?
Well, SpongeBob is a sponge, and Patrick is, well, Patrick, so I don't think they do. Why you gotta rub that shit in, Squidward? Fucking Squidward.
Actually, they both do have brains, both of which have appeared in multiple episodes and have even played big roles in some episodes. And for examples, here are 2 episodes where SpongeBob's brain and Patrick's brain had a big role in them, though these aren't for both brains.